Ladies and gentlemen, a welcome. It's an extraordinary day to be meeting here. But this morning is all about the predictions for next year from our dazzling panel.
2016, jetpacks, flying cars, time travel. End of.
I think you're going to get Trump beat Clinton and Trump's going to win. What a terrifying prospect.
Corbyn will survive a year. The Labour Party will go through further turmoil and a truly existential crisis. And at some point, Corbyn will leave.
The big controversy next year is going to be about the use of drones, but also levels of surveillance that are just quite frankly creepy and unregulated.
One factor I think people haven't really considered yet, but it will come up next year, is that if Britain does vote to come out and Scotland votes to stay in, they will then go for a referendum and you will effectively be voting for the breakup of the United Kingdom.
Perhaps not exiting Europe, but I think some countries at some point will exit the euro. And in my opinion, at some point, the departure of Greece from the eurozone in time, I think, is an eventuality. And I think quite likely many other countries may leave over time as well.
You know, we've been told for years and years you can't make any money in the music industry. The music industry is completely dead. And not only that, cinemas. Who's going to cinemas anymore? Well, look, I give you Adele and I give you Spectre. The insight there is around how big brands that are trusted can still go quite a long way and can still pack a punch.
We've had 8 years of zero interest rates around the world. This is about to change. This month, I expect the US Federal Reserve will make the first move by upwards in rates in the US since 2008. I think that Chinese consumption of raw material is still going to contract, and I think we'll see a further downward move in oil and metal prices.
Richard Godwin in the Evening Standard last week said that jihadists are just proof of a crisis in masculinity.
What kind of dim view do you have to take of mankind that you believe the knee-jerk reaction of an average man when faced with feminism, when faced with women empowering themselves in the modern world, is to point a rifle at their heads? It's to do with, you know, people who feel disenfranchised. It's to do with tribal affiliations. It's to do with ancient primal wounds. It's also, more importantly, to do with all of us, men or women, taking responsibility, making sure that those in our society who aren't looked after, who aren't engaged, who don't feel part of the whole, we reach out to them, whether we're in politics or whether we're just on the street. And I'm furious on behalf of all men. Anyway.
Take that. Thank you very much. Lovely pleasure. Cheers. Thank you.